We are half ruined by conformity, but we should be wholly ruined without it. A quote from Charles Dudley Warner. We have created this boundary, the boundary between conformity and individualism, and oftentimes these traits get exploited, thus creating someone who's too individualistic or a society that is overly conformist, showing the dire and desperate need to achieve a better balance between conformity and individualism. Within a balanced society comes a lack of judgment and pressure to follow certain pathways in life, allowing individuals to express themselves and do what they seem fit, while ensuring that order is maintained and the rights and liberties of others aren't impacted. An ideal society.
Today, I will be presenting how text highlights how an imbalance between individualism and conformity negatively impact individuals and society as a whole. From William Golding's novel Lord of the Flies, where a group of young boys are trapped on an island with a lack of law and order, and from Peter Weir's film Dead Poets Society, where we witness an institution of schoolboys in an incredibly strict traditionalist Protestant governed school.
William Golding's Lord of the Flies focuses on how the lack of a governing body or a sense of civilization taps into humans' inherently evil nature, highlighting the glaring flaws of having too much freedom and a sense of individuality. The boys attempted to establish some form of law, resulting in a semblance of roles necessary for their long-term survival. This, however, derailed quickly, with the boys' survival instinct quickly taking over their thoughts of maintaining a guise of civilization. The disregard for these rules led to the abandonment of the signifier, preventing them from being rescued, a direct impact of the breakdown of law and order. Further, with the loss of order, the characters transition from being fine young British boys into almost savages. This is shown in Kill the Pig, Cut a Throat, Spill a Blood, when the group of boys turn into a mob. The vengeful nature of Jack wanting to prove himself superior and highlight his utter disregard of the rules led to the death of Piggy, explicitly showing how law and order is necessary to keep society safe. This situation, where chaos runs rampant and laws don't exist, isn't just fictional. An example of this is modern-day Somalia, where the non-existence of laws has fueled ongoing conflict, insecurity, lack of state protection, and recurring humanitarian crises which have exposed Somali civilians to serious abuse. There are an estimated 2.6 million internally displaced people, many living unassisted and vulnerable to abuse, thus highlighting the issue that the lack of any law, order, or sense of conforming to the rules can have even in a modern-day state. Peter Weir's Dead Poets Society demonstrates how an institution forces people to follow strict rules and is mandatory to lead a good life. This restriction of self-thought is shown to make Keating's students unfulfilled. The rigid atmosphere within Welton appears to produce ideal archetypal fine young men. The students are always called by their surname, such as in "Anderson, come here," denying the students of their individuality and imposing upon them the ever-present family name. The traditionalist atmosphere clearly demonstrates the students being molded into Welton's ideal archetypal student, forcing upon them a uniform pathway to a middle-class sense of success, following in the footsteps of what others have become and not who they aspire to be. The benefits of the rebellious, rejuvenating Mr. Keating into the clandestine environment of the students brings an experience whereby the students are free to utilize their creative imaginations. Keating's character instills in his students the joy of learning English and the ousting of respected classical literature. Keating and his nonconformist manner was not welcomed by the powers of Welton Academy, showing how traditionalist civilizations clamp down on nonconforming thoughts. In the contemporary world, we can see a direct comparison with the Taliban in Afghanistan, forcing society to act uniformly and live life the way they seem fit. The last time the Taliban had taken control, they prohibited women to study and work, enforced clothing modifications, and kidnapped women into forced marriages with Taliban soldiers. This major restriction of freedom forced people to flee the country by any means necessary, many even risking their lives. A balance between conformity and individualism is required for any society to be successful and its people optimistic. To quote the character John Keating, "There's a time for daring and there's a time for caution, and a wise man understands which is called for."
Created using Powtoon.